3 amino acid variation with the mice. So you can see how much close it is with cheetah. And social learning bird, the song learning bird, you may know the zebra finch and canaries, which learn the song from their parent, also possess the same FOXP2. And this activity is very high area X, which is connected with song learning. And you can see in bats, you can get that much diversity for this FOXP2 genes because they do echolocation and they produces the sound which is evolved. So we discussed here that. So that FOXP2 is available there also. So this song learning bird, as you know what the features does that they learn the song from their father. And song is a criteria used for male choice by female. It is the best singer will get the females. So what it will do that it will repeat the song and again and again and again and again and it will make it perfect. Just like Indian Idol. So and what it does that it repeats that you can see the connection formation and all that things and the production of that FOXP2 in correlation with that. Okay, so yeah, so again one more thing is that usually we can discuss that. So what some scientists did that they took this human FOXP and introduced in genetically engineered mouse, expecting that mouse will become Mickey Mouse. Most of the article also quote like that. They will do that. So, but they found some variation. Obvious variation was there. Central nervous system development was different in the genetically engineered mouse. It showed variation in the part which is almost similar to human beings, which produces language. And its squeaks and sounds changed. Usually it produces ultrasonic sound, it came to the level of audible sound. When you take it, take a young of a mouse, what it will do, it will produce some sound which is not audible to us, which will be in the ultrasonic level. So what they found was that they are also, this mouse, that ability lost when it came to our audible range. And the number of elements, you know, just like in the language, the elements also increased. So if you talk about elements, you can see that in the case of dolphin language or dolphin sound production, dolphin can produce about 400 types of elements of sound. In our case, that is almost 50. But they don't have a brain with that much complexity that they can do. So recursion, as you know, repetition, the ability for repetition, that's also has been reported in birds, but there are a lot of controversy about that. So I'm not going to discuss that. Especially song learning birds, they say that recursion. So another property which shows recursive capacity is numerosity, sense of number. So recent studies shows that honeybees, ants, newborn chick, fish, salamanders, all these possess the ability for counting. Especially in the case of chicks, there is a very interesting experiment done by Olortigara. They used the chicks which is 4-day-old, and they found that they also have the ability to not only count but also to do simple arithmetic tasks. So there are two distinct cognitive systems to process the number and these things. This is one is parallel individualization system which encodes the numerical identity of individual items up to 4. Above 4, what it does that it goes for reverse flow. So there is two stimulus, but if it is below 4, it will go for counting sense, otherwise it will go for the area occupied or the numerical magnitude of that stimulus. That is seen in many of the animals, just like elephants, monkeys, birds, fish. Almost all of them can't count up to 4, above which they will go for the area occupied.
Even up to 4, there is an explanation that it is only object tracking, it's not counting.
There are studies, recent studies. You can see almost all these papers start coming into 2011. So what they do is that object recognition, as you said, if there is a study by Angelo Bisasarlu. So I'm also focusing on almost similar studies. What we do that you condition the animal with one stimulus, just like triangles. Then what they do that they make different combinations. So there are two things, other things. One is contour occupied by that object. Another one is area occupied by object. Third one is, as you said, color. So whatever parameters you can change, you can change. So what they found was that if you use the stars, the crescents, and if the animal has been conditioned with 3, for example with 3, you can, even if you change the triangles into crescents, stars, square, and we will recognize that. So it's not a object recognition. They get the abstract area of that. So if it is an object is a different thing. Angelo Bisasa, he's from Padua University. So their studies on this occluded object recognition, especially in university. Most of their work started this university and this lateralization in university. They are the pioneers. And they recently conducted an experiment, and they are saying that in humans also we follow almost similar system in conditions. But selective attention or compulsion can move to the other level. So another interesting study, again conducted by Giorgio Vallotigara, who was the head of the department in Padua University. They studied how they count in a serial number. If we are given 1, 2, 3, usually we count from left to right, correct? Usually we count from left to right and we count from top to down. This is done by birds also. They used chicks for this experiment and they found that the chicks will count from left to right. So they gave very simply that the button to peck. So they found that and the button is arranged from left to right. So the animal after some time the animal will develop an idea that it is third button. Then what they will do, the third button from left. Then what they will do that they will arrange the button from top to down. So they will go from top to the button top from third button from top. Then they condition the animal in reverse, condition with top, then with the horizontal. They got that, they also count from left to right and top to down. So that criteria, that skill is also being preserved from the fishes to human beings. So another thing is summation, minor levels of summation. That is reported in chicks as well as elephants. They can sum. So it's a very simple experiment. What they do that they put food in buckets, and they will bucket. The animal will not be able to see the food inside. So one food, another food, third food, fourth food. Then what they will do that even there are experiments which hides experiment, Iris experiment is there. They will take the food back. So even that animal is able to, and they always go for the larger, the bucket containing larger amount of food. So the animal was able to even do the subtraction. If you put 5 foot here, 5 foot here, 5 foot here, and then you took something, the animal will know that and they will come and take that. So another is tools. Tool is being used by different animals. So you can see tool used from fish, birds, monkeys, and ape. So the most interesting thing is that only one invertebrate do the tool use, that is octopus. What it does that it always carries two. This is a report recently came report. It's from Indonesian whale octopus. What it does that there is a hide available there, that is coconut husk. It always moves it through coconut husk, the coconut shells. So whenever there is stress for a predator, what it will do that it will cover itself using that. Very simple. I will show you the photograph. Here you can see. So it moves with it's not a coconut shell carrying octopus, it moves with the shell. So whenever there is a strain, it will use that.
Oh.
So another one is archerfish. You may know this. This is a fish which uses the water bubble to shoot the insects outside the water bubble. So what it do that, it is being studied precisely how they shoot that. They keep the water inside the mouth and they will just spit it from that object. So earlier it was believed that, and they will change the amount of water according to the prey there. So it's a very small one, they will use a very small, less big, small sphere. And if it's a large prey, they will do that. Recently, an observation came from Timmerman who says that even if they feel stressed, even if you just go there and stand there for some time, they will shoot at your eyes. The same the tool is being used to run away from you from there. So archerfish is using that. Fishes also uses stones as anvils. Very few reports are there because they don't have a hand. And this is our octopus. Another one is chimpanzee, as you know, they always do the termite fishing.
The octopus and the fish, the tool use that you're saying, are they learnt during an individual's lifetime or are they innate?
No. In the case of archerfish, it's an innate character. So we are calling it tool only because they changes that. For example,
so the use is flexible.
Yeah, just like a tool, the use is flexible. In the case of octopus, it's a learned behavior, obviously learned behavior, just like any other tool. Monkeys, as you know, they also use the tool. They just take the, you may know the termite fishing by chimpanzees, the very example. And then this was our crow, which I said, who makes sure. So what he did that, the food was given in a cylinder like this, and he had only one thing, that is a wire piece of wire. So what he did that, he bent the wire piece using the sides of the cage and he used that to pick the food out. So there is another funny experiment using monkeys. The same experiment was done with monkeys. So what they did that, they gave a peanut in this place. So what they found was many of the monkeys started to use the water as tool. They will bring the water with the hand or they will bring the pipe from the other water. They will fill and they will take the food out. So it was a documentary showing the discovery. But a monkey developed a new habit. What it was used to do that whenever there is a peanut in that jar, it will piss into that. And it will finish you. So it's another tool use. So similarly, Professor Anindya always say that monkey uses sheet as a tool. If somebody follows them, they will defecate with the hand and they will throw it on the floor. So another one is planning and mental travel. Animals do planning. So this another example coming from chimps. What this chimp does that? This is a recently recorded thing. What it does that it stocks the stone. It is a chimp kept in a zoo. So he is not interested for to do civil engineering. So what it will do that whenever there is leisure time, it will stock with the stones there, and when the audience, the people will come, he will start to throw it. So he's planning, almost like planning. He's keeping all the tools that with an idea that it will be used to throw the articles. And this another criteria we are moving through just for a tinge of what is happening in the phenomenon. There are planning and mental travel. This is another capacity considered to be for human beings. We can travel to the past as we can travel to the future. So similarly, there are studies which shows that the past also maybe there we can see that as an episodic memory. There are studies from Nikias group from Cambridge who discovered that the jays, they also plan. For example, if you give 2-3 types of foods which gets purified up to next day. For example, you give killed worms, which will be decomposed next day. And you give kibbles and you give grains and you give nuts. What it will do that it will cache in hierarchy order. It knows that it goes to disintegrate soon. Other one will be like that. So it will the cache will follow the time taken to disintegration of things. So that's also considered as an example for mental time travel and planning. But that we can't compare with human planning, as we know when we were in standard our fathers were planning us where we have to reach, what we have to do. So such long-term planning we can't expect in animals, but they also do the plannings, most of the plannings. And individual recognition and tit for tat is also there. So you know they can recognize individuals. So there's a very famous example of tit for tat from Black Hamlet and from Stickleback. So in this cases, this individual recognition cases, even baboons and baboons can recognize the children who their mother, to which female belongs to. Usually, if there is it's a cry from a young one, usually all of the baboons will look at his or her mother, not to any other baboons. They can recognize and they understand that this belongs to that. And another thing, tit for tat and individual recognition comes from fishes. There is a fish called Black Hamlet. So what it does that it is a hermaphroditic fish. It produces both egg and sperm. But it does not mix its own egg with its own sperm. So what they do that they will come to a place and they will exchange the egg and sperm. So initially one fish will give the egg, the other fish will give the sperm. Then it's known as egg trade. So if there are cheaters also. Usually what the fish do that they will give take the egg and will not give the egg back. So what the fish will do that it will remember that other fish and it won't do any trade with that fish for the rest of the life. So another thing comes from Stickleback study, Willinsky study. What they did that usually the Stickleback goes to check the motivation status of predator. It's not a predator infection. They move to the predator and they will check whether predator in an aggressive mode or not. So usually what they do that they move with a conspecific as a friend. So Willinsky what did that he did an experiment using a mirror. What he did that he kept mirror in such a way that if the fish moves, other fish feels that this fish is also moving away. This fish is moving away. And then they try it with other fishes also. If there is a fish which is a defector which moves away from their line in between, that fish will not do this behavior with the fish which has cheated it. So even this is considered as a sign or as a form of trust in animals. So that requires further studies. Then theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental status to oneself and others, that's also seen in animals, many of the animals. And in 1976, Humphrey proposed a theory, naturalist psychologist theory. It says that if animals are living in a group, they require to know each other's mind. And practical deception, they possess the ability to deceive others also. And deception, if you go further, you can see that playing possum, if you go through the phylogeny, the mindless form can be the playing possum that can be seen from fishes to birds to insects. They just behave like they are dead. And there are fishes which is using these strategies to collect food. What they do that they lay down and change the color and they resemble a dead fish, and if other fishes come to search it, it will kill that fish. And the famous example comes from plover bird, you know that. Forward is a bird which shows it will act like its wing is broken if a predator comes to its nest. Then it will move away from the nest with a broken wing, the predator will follow it. So earlier it was believed that it is just a reflex action or just a simple behavior. Later it was found that it don't do this display to non-serious intruders. So if it feels that that is not going to attack its nest, this is not going to show this broken wing behavior. But if it is a serious case, it will show that. Then also they are able to do the deception by recognition. And there is another experiment from Woodruff and Primack on chimpanzees. What they did that they trained chimpanzees with a good guy and bad guy. So what the condition is that the one volunteer will be a good guy and one volunteer will be a bad guy. So good guy is the one, and the chimpanzee will be provided the food in a bucket. So if good guy comes, what it does that if the chimpanzee gives the cue and good guy gets that food, it will give half to the chimpanzee. So it's a good guy for chimpanzee. The other one, what it does that he will come here and he will get the food and he will eat it in front of the chimpanzee. So what they found was that if a good guy comes, chimpanzee always looks towards the food, the bucket which contains the food. But if a bad guy comes, chimpanzee always look into the and point to the bucket which does not contain food. So even Primack says that you can simply say in which bucket is put there by seeing the chimpanzee and when this bad guy comes. Simply deceives by saying that no, you have to look there. So next one is Machiavellian intelligence. We are moving towards very, very higher levels of cognitive intelligence. Machiavellian intelligence is the intelligence known as political intelligence. Here what you have to know that animals should know the relation between others to make a decision. So even we hear about chimpanzee politics, where the chimpanzees make alliances according to that. And there is a very famous example from cleaner wrasse, a fish, how they use Machiavellian intelligence. Once it was believed that only primates do Machiavellian intelligence. Here there is a fish known as cleaner wrasse. Cleaner wrasse is a beautician in the sea. What it does that, it keeps a cleaning station. The term itself is cleaning station. And other fishes will come to the fish and get cleaned. So you can see even the long queue of fishes, large fishes waiting there, and they won't eat this wrasse. So even one of our friend, Rohan Arthur, who has a plan with us to start study of the cleaner wrasse, this is available in our seas also. So he told me that he has already located about 46 cleaning stations. He knows that where the cleaning stations are. So what you can see that certain times what will happen, the cleaning won't go well. So there will be also the cheaters. What they will do that, they along with eating the dead tissue and parasites, they will eat the mucous membrane of the fish, their client. So what will happen usually after, if the client is a vegetarian client, it won't come to the station again. So the customer is lost. In other case, what will happen that the client will chase and it will cut the wrasse if it feels pain. So the studies by Shari, this is also recently came to shows that this fish will run to the predator of that fish. Or sorry, swim to the predator of that fish. It won't go anywhere, but it's instead, if fish A is attacking it, it will run to the predator of fish A. So usually what happens that other fishes won't attack this fish, so this fish has to go there. So this fish knows what is the relation between A and B and C, and it uses that for its advantage. And there are learning by watching in animals also, just like we watch and learn certain things in animals also. So it is being utilized in animal conservation, just like to teach the life skills to fishes. So again, fishes comes. So there are nowadays there are life skill training protocols are available for hatchery fishes. So the experiment came from Veracruz, who studies salmon. So what happened that the scientists tried to reintroduce salmon by producing the young ones in the laboratory for the hatchery condition. But they reintroduced the salmon in their normal habitat. They found was survival rate was only 5%. So they analyzed what's the reason. They found that they are behavior deficient. So what they did that they used training. They started to train the fishes. So training was not done by a human instructor. Usually what they did that they used other fishes for the training, that is demonstrators. So there are many things. One is food, another one is predator. That is the area where the fish lack with the skills. So what they did that they kept a demonstrator who knows to eat what and who knows to escape from the predator. If the predator comes, this fish will show that. All others learn. Then they release the salmon back. Next year, from the 5% of survival rate, the rate increased up to 85%. So in Finland, now whatever the animals is produced for reproduction purpose, they have to give training. So they also can do it. Then what about teaching? So teaching is seen in meerkats and cats. So meerkat, it is a very complex thing. In cat, what they do that they bring half-killed prey to the young ones and eat. But in meerkats, the condition is very complicated because it eats poisonous items. So what it will do that it will bring the poisons, it will disable the prey according to the age of the young one. If it is very small, they will give it prey with almost half dead. But if it is which is reaching adolescence, they will give prey which has less disabled, so that they will learn the hunting. But it is different from human learning, human teaching, because here in our case we intentionally change these behaviors and we modify the behaviors. Here only the learning is used to only teaching. Teaching is given only in eating habit formation, nothing else. So another one is
there is no certification.
Pardon?
There is no certification behavior.
So when I was in LPRC, we used to discuss with Professor Srinivas. It was from so one day he told me that if the work continues like that, monkeys, chimps, and fishes also will have deans and directors. So they also have to write a statement. The copyright goes to him. So another one is empathy. So empathy is also you can see in animals, again in chimps. What study shows that there's an experiment I got it from someone of the Sapolsky's work. So what they found was that it was on baboons. What was happened that usually the alpha male and subordinate interaction will end up in aggressive cases. So if some lower animal does some behavior and alpha male hit him, others weren't going to do him. So if due to some other factors the alpha male attacks this animal, the amount of grooming will be 5 times more by others. So others know that he has been punished for the crime which he hasn't done. So he requests more consolation. So similarly, this consolation has been done by RAS also. So usually they feel that the client is getting distressed due to its activity, what it will do that it will move to its friend that it will tap on the head of the client. So it is also proven by Shari. They are doing a very beautiful work on this activating dependency analysis. So usually the client gets consoled, otherwise the client will chase, then it has to find it with others to take, otherwise it will be finished. So but in the case of humans, you can see that it is extending towards even inanimate objects. Not only for specific friend or the object, even inanimate object. Another one is mirror. As you know, many of the animals possess the ability to recognize mirror image, just like chimps or orangutan, gorilla, dolphin, orca, and magpie possess the ability to recognize them. So this is tested using Gallup's test. Gallup's test is just they will anesthetize the animal, and they will initially train the animal with the mirror. Then they will analyze the animal and anesthetize the animal, and then they will make a mark on the animal. So when it wake up and it get the mirror back, usually what it will do that it will give more attention to that mark. It says that it has a sense of self, again in inverted comma. At least semantic self. There is two types of self that has been classified into two levels. One is semantic self. Semantic self means our physical ability, our size, our body shape, or everything. Conceptual self is our position, our ability, knowing of our ability, or other things. In this case, we can see that many of them possess this semantic self. At least they know that this is me, my body shape is this. So, but in the case of fishes, they failed. They are not able to prove Gallup's test. But there is a recent study which came in 2012 from Oliveira group. What they found was they analyzed the behavior of they analyzed the brain chemical production, especially EGR1. There is a chemical known as EGR1, which is produced during the interaction. And usually what happens that if the animals produce more EGR1, it will become more dominant. It is corrected with GLRs. So they were using a fish known as Astrata tilapia bartoli. What it does that two males, if there are two males, there will be aggregation, and one male become dominant and other will become recessive. So the subordinate male, what it has to do that it has to keep the body color down. Otherwise, whenever it keeps the body color down or up, other fish will attack it. So what he found was that the reaction of the fish or the production of GnRH in the brain of the fish was different when it was interacting to a membranous process. So if it was interacting with another fish and membranous, the brain profile variation was different. Brain neurochemical transmitter neurochemical profile was different. So they say that we can't say that whether fish is doing this behavior or not, or whether they are able to recognize it or not, but it requires further study. So we can now ask the last question: are they cautious like us? But we can see one thing. As we are following through the evolution, we can see that we will be related with our genetic things, but we are not identical. Fish is a fish, man is a man. And if you compare an animal and a human being, we have more number of cognitive abilities in an individual. So if you analyze, many of the things were seen in different species. One was showing like cheetah, one was showing like monkey, but you can't see almost all these things accumulated in one thing like us. So even one we can assume that they also may be experiencing the mental states, at least which is useful for them or which is which is shaped by the selection. And they may be having a greater level of awareness, not the all-over thing, but a greater level of awareness. This was the quotation taken from Griffin, who was considered the father of giant of animal cognition, or who always believed that animal also has mind. So he says that their awareness will be greater. So they may have a fishy awareness or a dog-like awareness, but we can't compare them. So thank you for
point about numbers, counting numbers where checks up to 1 to 3 from left to right and top to bottom. Do you want to call, I mean, I see it as more of a trial and learning, trial and error
association.
So, because what happens is that if the crow is able to, for example, you were speaking about that in relation to chicks, if you're talking that to the crow, the number of chicks, babies that it has, it's supposed to count because the cuckoo is going to put it's going to put the eggs into the thing. So if there was a counting part, I don't know if the cognition of the chick will be different from the crow in terms of counting.
So the same thing you can see. So how you can say that whether it is a counting or whether it is going for that area covered by that? So there are two things. If there is 4 eggs, there are two stimulus it is getting. One is area covered by that 4 eggs. Another one is 4 count. So in that case, crow's case, we can't say that whether it is area covered by the eggs or the number is not changed. It's not tested. So we can say that even the cuckoo takes the egg out, there is this stage that this is taking out to reduce the competition. So they take out one egg because its young one can get more nutrition. So yesterday we discussed most of the birds, what they do that they collect almost anything like anything resembles eggs. So in that case, either it may be using that or it may be using cow. But usually crow, in the case of cuckoo, it will be about 3 to 4, maximum 2 to 3 eggs may come in by clutch. So above that, the question is not coming. So in this case, what they do that, as I said, they do the cross matching also. So they try to condition animal with other sequence also, but they fail that. They always feel that they move towards the left to right. So we also try with the fishes. What we do is that we use different gates. So experiment is moving there. So from left to side, there will be n number of gates through which fish can go out. All gates will be closed. So she has to count use the number, and I'm trying that. But in the case of fishes, they are not able to open the gate. That's the problem because they are not able to do that instrument condition like crow or a bird.
And what about